Tennessee takes on North Carolina State, Joe, yesterday. And look, man, this was an outright beating. And I got to say this about Tennessee. We talked about this in the offseason about Tennessee that I think people don't realize. Everybody looks at Josh Heupel and says, man, they're flashy offense, very flashy on all the things that they do. The running game and defense on what you and I talked about all offseason is coming to play out. Dylan Sampson running the football, that front seven defense, they showed up and showed out last night for the Volunteers.
It was really annoying to me this week that when we both put Tennessee in our top 10s because we said, watch what's going to happen this week. Everybody just sit down for a second, watch what's going to happen against NC State, and you're going to understand why we put them there. So many people pushed back. And you know what I was quickly reaffirmed on that we said last week? This team is really well-rounded. They belong in the bucket of top teams that can contend for a national title. I know that bucket's a little big right now, but we're in week 2. We can throw out 6-7 names until things start to whittle themselves down and injuries happen and certain guys start to slow down being hot. I was affirmed that this offensive line is freaking fantastic, that they're able to create easy rushing lanes for Dylan Sampson. They're able to protect Nico. I was really affirmed on one key thing. Nico is the perfect quarterback for this system. I wouldn't be shocked if he's not getting attention for the Heisman at the end of the year. But more importantly, next season, we're going to be having some serious conversations of him as the Heisman favorite, first overall favorite. This team, with how they play on offense, how quickly they can score points, and how smothering, and the same thing I said about Miami last week, smothering, aggressive, downhill, turnover creating on defense makes them a tough out against anybody that they play. That was a ranked top ACC NC State team that they made look like an FCS program. They are really freaking good, and they could be top 5 good in the next few weeks.
Okay, here's how I want to break that down. Number one, I think Nico Iamaleava, there you go. I thought he finally looked human, if that makes sense. The interception that he had, it was an overthrow that got picked off, and then the second interception, his arm gets hit, the ball flies up, and it gets picked. I'm kind of, in a way, if I'm a Tennessee fan, a little bit happy about that. Let me explain why. Because now Heupel gets to correct him on certain things on what he should and shouldn't be doing. I thought he had a great game. I thought he still looked really good and really efficient. Great throw of the football, 16 of 23, 211, and 2-2. But, Joe, the thing that's helping him right now that a lot of young quarterbacks don't have is Dylan Sampson, 20 carries, 132 yards, and 2 touchdowns. They're running the football and playing good defense. You know, I think of the Will Brooks pick 6 last night as something like, hey, man, you don't have to do this on your own. So those shots that you're taking, you don't have to take them because we're going to make these stops for you. Now, we'll get to NC State in a minute. But, Joe, where the game was won last night and why I think it's starting to be a little bit of, hey, man, what can this Tennessee team be, is it's not the high-flying throwing the ball all over the place that people associate Heupel with. Mm-hmm. It's that they're running the football at an efficient rate. Now, they're going to get tested against Oklahoma. They're going to get tested in these next couple of weeks. But they're shutting down the run and running the football and going right at you. You know, there was a play where Nico got hit out of bounds, and then the very next play, the offensive line, I forget the player for NC State, they absolutely drove him out of bounds, got flagged for it. You know, they pretty much Michael Orred him on a double team. They are a nasty group up front. Now, they're going to get tested, and we're going to see how good they're going to be. But when I look at Tennessee and I see that Nico still ran for 65 yards and a touchdown, and Sampson did what he did, Joe, I think it's what we talked about in the offseason with them. On paper, they look like they're more balanced than anybody's given them credit for coming into the season.
That's where I keep coming back to. I feel like just generally a lot of apprehension for some reason to like really back Tennessee. I think a lot of people were hesitant of like, are they going to falter anywhere? The well-roundedness.
You got Oklahoma. Look, you're
right.
Going there. That's going to be a tough game. And you know Oklahoma's going to play up to that. You got Georgia. You got Bama.
Yeah.
And Joe, here's the thing that I want to be cautious. Where I think Tennessee may be good, I still understand that they got 3 defensive lines that they're about to face in the next couple of weeks or next couple of months. that, okay, it's one thing to do this against NC State. Can you do that against the big dogs? That's the part that they're going to have to answer.
Obviously, there's still time to be proven, but we're in week 2 and we're going off of these teams facing against lesser opponents. So we don't have enough true evidence to know how do you step up in the big games, because that's where the real separation is. That's where the separation is, where a ton of times we'll have these really talented types of teams like Tennessee, but they don't know how to get up for a big game. Also, I just love to keep bringing this back to Marcus Freeman. That's how a team's supposed to look in year 3. That's how a team's supposed to look in year 3 under their head coach.
Well, this is year 4 for Heupel, is it not? Yeah, I think it's year 4.
It is year 4. Never mind. Ignore me. I'm just being a dick.
Well, it's what it looks. Here's what it looks like too. When your collective and your administration and your coaching staff is aligned, and you get quarterbacks and you're getting good offensive and defensive linemen, they are very established at Tennessee from top to bottom. You know, coaches talk about and use the cliche word alignment all the time. That's what alignment looks like. Georgia, that's what alignment looks like. So we'll see how they look. Here's something that I look at them, though, Joe, that worries me just a little bit, okay? Nico got confused by underwhelming secondary. There were some throws that he got really confused in. Now, I'm talking about that for the beginning part of the season because he's going to be a superstar. Like, for example, I think Brent Venables can throw some really weird things at you. You get what I'm saying? Like, he can dial some things up. So if there is a concern, I would say that, but it's not a massive concern. I'm trying to be very nitpicky on this.
Yeah, I mean, I understand what you're saying, but like I almost like don't even, if I'm a Tennessee fan, I'm like not even like worrying about that because it's his 3rd ever start. The pick that he threw that was an overthrow, it always comes back to what I talk about with these talented quarterbacks that
he threw it in a triple coverage.
Not necessarily. He didn't really necessarily throw that in triple coverage. He was breaking down the middle of the field. It was a really tight window that he knew he had the arm to take that risk, but he misfired and he overthrew it, which led to the interception. The thing that I always come back to with quarterbacks, they're as gifted as Nico, like Cam Ward, Quinn Ewers, Jackson Dart's another guy that I think of that's got really good traits. These guys that can take these risks, I want to see them take the risks because sometimes they're not going to pay. They're not going to pay out, but when they do, then your offense is going to be able to produce huge chunk plays, and you can really stress defenses. So risks to me are not an issue. Confusion is reps. It's more opportunities to learn.
To your point, like I just said, to all Tennessee fans that want to come in here, I'm being very nitpicky. You know what else I want to see Nico do? I think he wants to stay in the pocket a little too much to some extent. Use athleticism and go get down.
He could. I think he could use his legs a little more. I think that would be great for.
I think if he got on a phone call with Jaden Daniels, I think that or Lamar or anybody,
or Hendon Hooker, the guy who was there before,
it would really benefit him a little bit. Look, man, we put Tennessee in our top 10 last week. Got a lot of pushback by people for us putting Tennessee in our top 10. Doesn't look that bad now. Joe, any thoughts on NC State?
They shouldn't have been ranked. And I'm done talking. I'm done talking about the ACC. You know, I don't think that the ACC is going to really put up much of a fight. There is one really good team, and that's Miami. And we're going to just see the rest of these teams cannibalize one another the rest of the year. It could be the most random second highly ranked ACC team. It's probably going to be Clemson. Maybe Syracuse sneaks their way in there. Georgia Tech will probably be in that conversation.
I'm going to throw this out there. I love the way, I know it's App State. I love the way that Clemson responded.
Do you know? So we don't give betting picks on the show. My betting pick, my lock of the week was
App State.
Was that Dabo was going to cover against App State because of course he shows up and completely knocks the crap out of a completely meaningless opponent so that he can act all smug and look how good we are. Look at how we put up 60 points. Look how potent this offense is. It's the most Dabo thing that could have happened, but yeah, it's a nice win for them. I hope maybe it'll do something for them.
Look, Will Brooks' pick 6 was phenomenal.
Yeah, great play.
Great play. They're really good on defense. Here's the thing: Grayson McCall is trying to stream up paddle or go upstream without a paddle. Yeah. Dude has no outside of Concepcion and Hollywood, he has nobody, and I feel bad for him. I don't think this NC State team's that good. All right.
This video is sponsored by the online fitness training camp presented by Chris Gates Fitness. When I first started talking about Chris about partnering with our show. Not only was I excited to have a fitness sponsor for our pod, but more importantly, when I found out about how he can help people achieve their goals, I was even more bought in, because when the football season starts, it is so tough to stay on top of things and also to be able to enjoy yourself on Saturdays when it's game day. With Chris Gates Fitness's online training camp, you're going to be able to effectively stay focused, consistent, burn fat, build muscle, and do it with a like-minded community of individuals working towards the same thing. On top of this, you're going to be able to get direct coaching from Chris and the ability to ask him questions with an access to a live Q&A where you can get direct personalized support from Chris himself. Don't wait any longer. If you're trying to get in shape during this fall and you want to be able to do it with the right support system, head on over to chrisgatesfitness.com/training camp or click the link in the description. And you need to do it today, because you can get the first month. Personal training is expensive, folks. The first month for only $10 when you use that code RuffinoJoe. Don't wait any longer. Head on over there. BetOnline remains your top spot for all of your live betting action and contests. NFL, college football, UFC, NHL are all in full swing. BetOnline is your number one source for wagering news, odds, trends, and predictions, with both desktop and mobile access at any time. Head to BetOnline today and use promo code BELIEVE, that's BLEAV, for 50% off your first deposit. That is a 50% welcome bonus. BetOnline, where the game starts.